This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com/PsycheTruth.
Hey guys, welcome. We're going to be doing a low back for Tyler today. My name's Tessa, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start without any medium, without any oil, and I'm going to do a little bit of just pretty basic myofascial release. So fascial tissue is the connective tissue that kind of binds everything together, and you never want to be using oil or lotion when that's your focus. So I'm doing a kind of a low back stretch as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and there's some tools that you can get that can help with this, but using your hands is really effective too. So I'm basically just pushing and pulling my hands, and I'm not focused on the spine itself. I'm focused on the tissue around it. So just pushing and pulling. And I used to kind of think that like myofascial work was a waste of time until I got a full hour of that kind of work, and it helped me tremendously after I was in a car accident. So since then, I just kind of like to include some of it in my sessions. And the key here is to be present and really focused on feeling that stretch of the skin and that tissue, which is a little bit more subtle. And I'm going to start focusing on the QL muscle. So I'm actually going to bring these arms to the front of the table to create more space and make that muscle more taut. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my right hand on that sacrum, and I'm going to start stretching, and ideally you want to hold for a good 20 seconds even. It's just harder when I have direct contact. There's a special kind of tape that kind of lets you grab onto the skin more, but this is still really helpful. So for someone that's used to just getting deep tissue work, this might feel like a waste of time, but I promise that it's not. Really creating more space in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So, and you can use either hand, it doesn't matter. Just kind of find what's comfortable. So pushing and pulling, and not really focused on the muscles yet, just focused on that connective tissue, kind of stretching it all out. And this is a very light stretch for the QL. The QL is a deep abdominal muscle, and it's definitely can be challenging to work on effectively. So really just encouraging that tissue to stretch before I actually begin. I'm going to go ahead and just encourage these SI joints to let go a little bit. Putting my hands on that sacrum. And I think that I'm ready to head into the medius muscles, glute muscles. And without losing contact, I'm going to go ahead and probably better to start with some lighter pressure. So I like to begin my low back work with some compressions in this medius, and if you're working on a client that you have a lot of history with, you might not need as much of a warm-up. Always good to have some kind of a warm-up. And this is my favorite way to do deep tissue in this glute muscle. I'm starting to work my way in a little deeper. Everybody's sacrum is a different size, so you just don't expect every massage to be the same or have the same requirement. I'm just really paying attention. Can feel really nice to shake a little bit. A nice distraction technique, and I think it feels good. And just really trying to let my breath be fluid as I work. Try not to hold my breath so that I have plenty of energy. And I will eventually get into this low back. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do some compressions in here. Kind of letting Tyler know what's coming. And just applying this oil. Since we're just doing low back, I'm not gonna go all the way up back. And I say this a lot in my videos, but like something like this that doesn't require a lot of concentration, it's a nice way to connect with your client and just take a little break. It's like a nice break for him and for me. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start in with something a little deeper. Go ahead and just start working away from the spine. And again, everybody's different, so it's a lot easier when you have history with a client. Kind of building that rapport is sometimes the most challenging part, and building that trust. And you can get creative with getting into this QL muscle. So I'm going to start just kind of introducing a little more pressure. I'm going to do stacked hands, and I'm not trying to do deep tissue here. I'm just kind of working up to deep tissue. I'm working my way around that iliac crest, making sure that I'm in the right place, and gradually kind of working my way in a little deeper. This is a really nice way to work. Nice and stable. I like to work my way all the way around that hip. And I'm going to go ahead and go in with my elbow. So I like to just do a little bit of deep tissue in that medius before I head up to the low back. And just finding a rhythm that feels good, not rushing through any of this. And just kind of paying attention to my client's body. Like if he's tensing his shoulders or lifting up off the table, maybe I need to check in. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and head into some deeper work in this QL. And I find this to be like one of the most challenging muscles to work on, personally. going nice and slow. And taking my time here. Because it's such a deep muscle, sometimes it's hard to feel like you have the sensitivity you need in your elbow. So if it feels better to go in with the pads of your fingers, can be kind of easier in some ways. And I'm gonna go ahead and move to the opposite side. And not losing contact with my client. So go ahead and kind of same sequence on this side. Was that too much? All right. And sometimes the sacrum can be positioned where one side feels a little bonier. You need to kind of adapt to what's going on. So and not spending a whole lot of time here. If the muscle feels super taut, like on a really athletic person like Tyler, sometimes it's like helpful to make it less taut. So typically on an average person who doesn't work out a lot, this would be the arm position. But if you're like, feel the muscle kind of bouncing around, I wasn't on the QL yet, but if you feel like you need less space kind of to relax everything, that would be a better position. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. So I'm gonna start just working my way away from the spine and around that iliac crest. Can be kind of nice to rest the hand on the medius when you're doing that work, just to certainly all connected. And you need to put your hand somewhere. All right, so sometimes it's challenging remembering like the sequence you did. All right, so I'm gonna start working my way in towards the spine. I honestly, like I was saying, I think upper back work is a lot easier than low back work, but it's still fun. And you're definitely going to have a loyal client if you do effective QL work. And I'm just going to start to work my way in a little deeper. Just making sure that I'm nice and stable as I work, because I am moving in a direction towards the spine, so I just need to make sure that I feel nice and solid. spending a little more time here. Kind of finding ways that you can tie everything together is nice. Feels less choppy. You're in a session. I'll go ahead and all right, and I'm going to work on this soft tissue around the sacrum. So I'm just ending with something that isn't quite as intense. And really like to work my way towards the base of the spine. There's a lot of nerve endings. And obviously, like, check in with your client, make sure that you have consent, because you just want to make sure that your client feels comfortable. So just working my way all the way down and applying a nice even pressure on both sides as I work my way down. And you do want to get towards the base of the spine. So I really like to hold as I get a little bit lower because there's so many nerve endings. And this can affect the whole lower back region in a really positive way. And not doing anything too fancy here, just working the soft tissue, really encouraging everything to relax. After I've done that deeper QL work, I like to just do something for the hips. And can you see the whole leg? Okay. No, it's okay. Okay. So before I finish, guys, I just want to take a second and thank a few of our patrons. I'd like to thank Alberto, Casey Bryant, and Fotaku. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate you. Alright, I'm just ending with a little bit of effleurage, just something broad and a little more mindless. And that is it for today. Thanks for joining us today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and we look forward to seeing you next time.